We all know computers are expensive. That's why a lot of people right now are really considering buying from the used market. And I recently did a video where I showed I got a really good deal, mostly by me being a cheapskate and being willing to just take the risk of lowballing someone and having them actually take it. But today we're gonna take a look at some actual real listings to try and identify what kind of things would be considered a good deal and what kind of things are people just trying to take advantage of someone maybe not knowing what they're looking at, and then you find yourself setting all of this on fire, wishing that you had maybe seen this video first. CableMod is proud to announce their new 90-degree 12-volt high-power replacement cable sets. Designed to eliminate tight bends on your GPU, the C-Series cables feature standard and reverse 90-degree connectors right on your cable and terminate to standard PCIe plugs designed for your specific GPU. Available in most popular PSU styles, the C-Series cables offer peace of mind with the highest warranty policy in the industry. To see the supported list of PSUs and full warranty policy, follow the sponsored link in the description below. So I used Facebook Marketplace when I did that video. There's a few places you can go outside of forums and stuff. Forums are easier, I think, if you're okay with dealing with shipping and stuff for like individual parts. As a whole system, I would prefer to buy local because of the fact that shipping is just the biggest opportunity for damage to happen. Not only that, forums, a lot of times forums have their own feedback postings as well, so you can actually determine if you're dealing with someone that's legit. A lot easier on a forum, but again, unless you're local to that person, it doesn't do you a lot of good. There's also sites like OfferUp, there's Craigslist. I found most people cross-post between Facebook and Marketplace and Craigslist anyway, so you'll tend to find the same post there. It's rare that you'll find one somewhere and not the other. So anyway, that's why I'm just using Facebook Marketplace today. So let's go ahead and just do a search, first of all, for gaming PC. Because oftentimes you'll find searches for gaming PC where I find that the posts tend to be a little bit more expensive, to be honest, just because of the fact that they figure someone's looking for a quote unquote gaming PC. But realistically, a gaming PC is just any computer that can play the game that you want to play at the FPS you want to play it. So it doesn't mean a gaming PC doesn't have to be a high-end PC, it could be a low-end PC, it could even be just a basic PC, like an iGPU if it plays the game you want to play, right? Like League of Legends or something like that. So this is high-end gaming PC for $1,000. That's just caught my eye. What do they mean by high-end? So we have a 3800X, all right? That's already 3 generations old on Ryzen CPU. 8-core, 16 threads. It's a Ventus 2X 3060 Ti. So already their idea of quote-unquote high-end is a little bit skewed because that CPU, although was high-end at its day, is a bit old by today's standards. It's definitely got some age on it. Not that it's not capable, but it has some age on it. 16 gigabytes of 3200 megahertz RAM, not incredibly fast when it comes to DDR4. 600 watt power supply, has limited upgradability for us on trying to put in, say, like a 4080 or 4090 in there. Like it's still too low of a wattage for us to comfortably run a 4080 with a higher end CPU. B550 Gaming F, that's fine. That B550 would actually allow us with its latest BIOS to put a higher end CPU in there, but if we're buying the computer and then changing parts, we're not really getting ourselves a great deal. However, it does have an O11 Dynamic Mini, which is not a cheap case. It's well over $100 for that case. It's got a CrossFlow 240 AIO, 500 gigabyte NVMe SSD. Not terrific because of the fact that NVMe's are so cheap now. You can get a 1 terabyte for $50, $60 these days. Up here, 9X RGB fans. Those are just basic, like Amazon fans I've showed you in Windows 10 Pro. Brand new, built 3/2/24. Again, someone maybe doesn't know computers very well. Just because they built it on 3/2/24 does not mean it's a new build. It just means maybe that's the first time those pieces were put together. But none of these parts, like the main components anyway, are quote unquote new. I'd be very surprised if it was a brand new 3800X and a brand new 3060 Ti and a brand new B550. I'd be surprised. So for $1,000, I don't think that's a great deal given the specs. That's one that I would probably have offered them like $700 and haggled from there. Here's a $900 gaming PC. This was actually one I looked at momentarily. This is clearly a someone's CyberPower PC that they're selling. $900 gets you a 3.6 gigahertz Intel Core i7 12th gen 12 core 12th gen. I wish I would say exactly which one it was. There's not really a quote unquote 12 core 12th gen. They have E-cores and P-cores in all 12th gen. So which one is it, right? 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. How fast is it? an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3060. A 1TB M.2 NVMe, okay. For 900 bucks, it depends on what CPU it is, but this is one I would probably be more comfortable offering, again, maybe like 650 to 700. Although 3060s are still going for like 300 bucks, so it really depends on what CPU it is. This is a maybe, but I wouldn't offer the full 900. Also too, how long ago was it listed? This was listed a week ago in Victorville. So with it being Victorville, seems like the kind of place you might be able to lowball a little bit and get away with it, to be honest. You have to know the regions too. So knowing some of these areas also tells me how likely I am to maybe get away with a little bit more of a lowball. See, here's one too that's already been crossed out, 1300 down to 1200. And it's got a 3080, so this one might be worth taking a look at. But the fact that it's crossed out tells me they've already lowered the price. Doesn't mean they're desperate, but it definitely means they're gonna wanna sell it. Holy GPU sag, I just saw that. Jeez. Okay, used for about a month. Specifications, it's an RTX 3080 10GB. Okay, if he's used it for a month and it's been listed for 3 days, it was already a used build when it got put together at some point. These are not brand new parts for this price. Anyway, 1200 bucks, 3080 10 gig. It's an Intel 10700K, 4 generations old at this point. Z490 Wi-Fi, 16 gigabytes times 2, so 32 gigabytes of 3600 DDR4, and a Kraken X53. I also include a high-speed Wi-Fi USB dongle, a $30 value. Wow! I'm looking to sell the PC or for money emoji, or trade with PC parts plus cash on top. I'm down for offers. Hit me up. Pick up only at Riverside. The 3080 we were doing all right, but then when I saw the 10700K, I mean, that was a $300 CPU new. I don't know. I feel like this is a $900 offer, really. The guy might take it. The fact that he's reduced the price already tells me he really wants to sell. But why does he want PC parts plus cash on top? What's wrong with this, right? What's his issue with this system? Why not just upgrade the system? So I'd start asking questions. Let's look for something here that just seems too good to be true though, because sometimes you just want to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for, okay, here we go. Here's one that $975 already dropped from $1,279. This is in Santa Ana, so that's Orange County. Right by Micro Center too, obviously, by Santa Ana. So anyway, 975 bucks dropped down essentially 300 bucks. $304 from where he started. Price is firm, no trades. This is simply beautiful, white and black themed. Runs extremely quiet and cool under 100% load. Anyway, specs, 4060 Ti. That's already what makes this price seem like we might get a pretty good deal here. Because a 4060 Ti, 385 bucks is the cheapest one I see for right there. 635 versus 384, they're both 4060 Ti's. Do you see the spread on some of these cards, man? It's stupid. So that's almost that's more than a third of the price of the system for that card. All right, so Ryzen 5 5600, very similar to the CPU that was in the PC that I bought. Asus TUF Gaming B550, 16 gigabytes of Vulkan Z, 1 terabyte inland, so that's a Micro Center brand drive. Power specs, okay, so he clearly built this as a Micro Center build because of the power spec stuff and inland stuff. So power spec 650, semi-modular. It's actually, I don't think that's a terrible deal. Competitively priced to sell considering similar systems go for $1,250 or more. Well, he tried to get $1,250 or more and he didn't get it. So, you know what I would do? I would test, this is the kind of person I am, I would test how firm he is and offer $900. That's what I would do. Okay, here's another $1,000 gaming PC. I think that's a safe bet that people are willing to shop. $1,000 firm, well taken care of. Don't play games anymore. It's a 10850K. Fun fact, it's a 10950K that's downclocked 100 megahertz because they couldn't keep up with the 10900K silicon quality. Corsair Cooler 360mm, Z490 Tomahawk, RTX 3070 Aorus Master, has display for pictures. Ooh, that's cool. 32 gigabytes of
So sarcastic.
32 gigabytes of RAM, 1 terabyte NVMe Gen 4, 1 terabyte Crucial P1 NVMe, so 2 terabytes of storage, in a 5000X case, and 9 Corsair fans. Okay, the case and the fans alone are a chunk of change, especially the RGB fans. 10850K would still be a heck of a gaming CPU, would be just fine. 3070 Aorus though, I wish this was like a 3070 Ti or something like that. But for 1,000, again, I'm kind of a dick, I'd go with 900. And then meet him in the middle at 950. He'll say no, a couple days later, he'll text you back. Here's an $800 gaming PC in Rancho Cucamonga with a 4060. See, sometimes when it has the least amount of info, that worries me some too. It's an Intel i3 12100F with a 4060 and 32 gigabytes of RAM. What? Yeah, that's a pass. Gaming PC, perfect for 1080p medium or ultra settings at 60 to 200, depending on the game. That is really generous considering it's a 1070 Ti. The PC I bought for 400 absolutely would destroy this thing. Faster CPU, way faster GPU. So you gotta remember too, a lot of the times the price they post is not the price, their lowest price they'll take. I mean, even if they say firm, I find that it becomes fun to unfirm them, if you will. Sounds very sexual, but you know what I mean. Let's unfirm them if we can. Good morning, this is a recently built, how long ago was it? A week ago. Okay, this is a recently built gaming PC that's capable of playing. See, there's people like from computer shops or something throwing a bunch of used parts together and then calling it a new build. Anyway, I think it's disingenuous to make it sound like it's a new system if the parts themselves are not brand new in box. Otherwise, putting the new, like you change some parts in your car and suddenly it's a new car, it doesn't work that way, right? The parts have time on them, they have wear and tear on them. So it's a B350M Arctic, already an old motherboard given Ryzen, okay? Ryzen 7 5800X. So a B350 with a 5800X, there's already some features you're not gonna get full advantage of in the 5800X, like it's faster PCIe lanes and stuff because of the fact that, and the higher gen PCI because of the fact that it's on an old BIOS updated motherboard that doesn't have a matching feature set for 5800X. It has a thermal cooler. Okay, thermo cooler, got it. Magnum Neo Silent case, I guess Magnum, and a Pevia Prestige 600 watt 80 cold. Yeah, this is not a good deal. $940 for this, not a good deal at all. Condition new. Right, not free, gives me an offer, it works fine. 24 gigabytes of what, RAM? Oh yeah, that's mixed match RAM. 100%. 2 green PCBs and 2 with heat sinks on there. An AMD 580X, 8 gigabyte, and an i7. Runs any game on high settings. Okay, let's try this. 101. I love when they respond quickly. You know, out of curiosity, I should see like, what does he realistically want for it? So what is your realistic price? Okay, Dan. There's $450 for a budget gaming PC. What do we got here? It's an RTX 2060, a Ryzen 5500, 17 gigabytes of RAM?
That has to be a typo.
What?
That has to be.
Okay, 16, 17, 2 terabyte hard drive, and a 250 gigabyte SSD. So the storage is kind of crappy, but a 5500 and a 2060? Because the other PC I got for 400, that was a steal. It really was a steal, but this is not far off. It's a 2060 versus a 3060. It's got a 5500 Ryzen, that's okay. But I mean, it looks like a fairly straightforward computer. I mean, look, nothing crazy about it. Because what that means is whatever motherboard that's in there means we could throw it up to like at least a 5700X or something. Because one of the things I think you have to consider is whatever you're looking at, is it a dead end? Like, is it a dead end or is there an upgrade path built into the parts that are chosen? And this is where you start to really realize sometimes people just don't think about that sort of stuff. 500? You on crack. And I spelled crack wrong on purpose. So here's a $620 build in Chino. Recently built gaming PC with Windows 11 Pro installed. It's capable of playing mid to high resolution. A520i AC motherboard. So already that's our limiting factor right there on how far we could go on a CPU in the future. Because you wouldn't want to get a super high-end CPU and then not be able to take any advantage of like PBO or any of that sort of stuff for like AMD builds if the motherboard is too low spec. So it's got a 5600X, which I think is probably a fair pairing with an A520i. Unfortunately, the 5600X does have precision boost overdrive and a bunch of other self-overclocking features that you may not get access to on the A520 chipset. A Gigabyte 5700 XT 8 gigabyte and a Corsair 650 watt bronze for $620. Maybe offer like $590 and then see if you can get it for $6 even. I think for $600, that would be a solid PC. That tower alone, that is not a cheap tower. Asus towers are expensive. Unfortunately, that doesn't mean it gives them a lot of resale value. No trades. Fast and reliable custom built PC with mostly new parts. Great for 1440p high quality gaming and 1080p high FPS competitive gaming. They're typing buzzwords. The specs are really not 1440p ready. It's a 9400F. It's a Z370P D3 motherboard, so at least you can upgrade that CPU to a 9900K or something easily. And a 1660 Super. So the 1660 Super is why I'm saying you're not gonna be getting medium to high quality 1440p gaming. So really the limiting factor here is going to be our power supply. Because if we wanna go with a higher end GPU or a higher end CPU, our 450 watts gonna run out of room real quick. But at 400 bucks, if it gets you playing now and you can save some money and then start upgrading these components in piecework, like I would probably start honestly with the CPU. I think that the 1660 Super will be just fine for 1080p gaming, and depending on the title that you're playing, you may only get medium settings to some mixture of medium and high. But a 1660 Super is not a terrible card for 1080p. I would put like a 9700K in there or something like that. And then I would then bump up my power supply before I bumped up my GPU. Because that 450 watt, even though it's a Corsair, will run out of wattage real quickly. But for 400 bucks, it gets you up and running. And because they've already dropped the price from 420, I bet you we could offer like 375 and get that. All right, let's find a couple more, let's get out of here. I think you guys are kind of getting the gist of the sort of things I look for when it comes to a computer build. $800 gaming PC in Ranch Cucamonga. I see a Founders Edition card right there, which looks like it's gonna be like a 3060 probably. Processor type, i5. 3060 Ti, okay, so I was only a little bit off. 4TB SSD. It's actually a 4TB SSD, so that'd be an expensive drive. i5 CPU, more than capable of 1080p gaming at upward of 170 FPS and ultra at 100 FPS.
Is B450 an AMD?
B450M. Yeah, that's an AMD cooler. That's AMD. Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't even catch that. Yeah, you're right. It's B450, and then the post, you can tell that that's an AMD cooler right there. So he might have an R5, not an i5. Yeah, nice red flag. The price and that $4,320. Is it a 4090? It better be. Yeah, 4090. Okay, still terrible deal. They wanted $6,000 for it at first. It's like the PC market is what the used car market was a couple years ago. This should be good. 5700X, 8-core graphics card, an AMD Radeon 6750 XT, 750 watt NZXT C750 power supply, a Crucial P3 1TB with storage, a motherboard B550M ASRock, an NZXT Kraken 240. It's actually a pretty good deal for 500 bucks. See, deals like this can exist because you could take 5700X processor, that's gonna last a while. Sure, it may be AM4 and not AM5, it doesn't matter. You don't need DDR5 for gaming. That CPU is gonna be relevant for a while. The 6750 XT, maybe not necessarily the newest graphics card, but still quick enough. It was a revision on the RDNA 2 architecture. So fast enough. 750 watt power supply, upgradable graphics easily to a 6900 XT or something like that if you want. Or even a 6950 XT with that power supply, you'd probably still be just fine. 16 gigabytes of RAM, that's gonna last you. Your 1TB P3, also gonna last you. So this, and the cooling with the Kraken 240, no problems right there. This is actually a really solid buy for 500 bucks in Riverside, listed 2 weeks ago. The 2 weeks is a little weird. Like, I would think someone by now would have snatched it. So, I don't know, maybe if you're in the IE or in the LA area, or now you guys can go find this listing for 500 bucks and report back whether or not you got it. But I think that might actually be one worth looking at. Anyway, just wanted to kind of take a look at some postings here live with you guys as you guys kind of hear about the thought process of what I'm looking for. It was one thing that was requested in my previous video when I showed you what we got and how much we paid for it and what we got for it. There was a lot of people recommending like, hey, tell us your thought process on when you buy a used computer, what should you consider, what are some red flags, what are things to not look for. Again, if the posting's been listed for weeks and weeks and weeks, it's likely it's a dead posting, someone forgot about it. If a person seems really aggressive at selling, or they drop the price to some ridiculous number that seems super, super sketch, always meet up in a public place, as public as you can make it. And two, if they seem to aggressively drop the price to try and move it as fast as they possibly can, those to me are red flags because I don't know if it's stolen. I don't know if the person's just trying to rob you, because that's the scary part about meeting up with people off the internet is more often than not, someone will pretend to be selling something, know a cash sell or a cash buyer is coming, and then try and rob the person for the cash, right? It happens. So I also never really go pick this stuff up by myself. Someone's always there too, which kind of helps. But there's always an inherent risk. So you've got to do your best you can. If your hair starts standing up in your arms or the back of your neck, then it's probably too good to be true, and just listen to your gut and to your instincts. And again, always try and get proof that the PC is actually with them. Have them post a picture with something written on a piece of paper that you told them to write down. Like, be like, hey, I know this might sound really sketch, but do me a favor, take a piece of printer paper and write my name, that I'm telling you my name is, on that piece of paper, and take a photo of it. That way they can, easily at least kind of try and demonstrate that they have the PC. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Let us know what your favorite buyer tips are, both for making sure you don't get scammed and buyer safety, as well as, what are some red flags for you that say, nope, I'm walking away from this, even though it seems like a great deal. All right, guys, thanks for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.